Imagine a time when the very air itself seemed poison, when the streets were filled with carts carrying lifeless bodies, and no one truly understood what was happening. This is not the scene of a horror film. It was the harsh reality of medieval Europe, when the Black Death swept across the continent in the 14th century, exterminating nearly half the population in just a few short years. But the most frightening part is that this terror does not belong only to the past. Recent cases in countries such as China and Madagascar have shown that the plague still exists. And the chilling question is, could we one day relive a nightmare like this again? The beginning of horror. It all began around 1347, when ships arriving from the east docked in European ports. Alongside spices and goods, they carried invisible and deadly passengers, rats infested with fleas that harbored the bacterium Yersinia pestis. Within weeks, entire cities had become graveyards. Seemingly healthy people fell ill overnight. High fevers, bloody vomiting, excruciating pain, and the most dreaded sign of all, enormous black swellings on the skin known as buboes. It was as if death itself had left its mark on the victim's body. An apocalyptic scenario. Accounts from the time describe streets overflowing with corpses, entire families wiped out in a matter of days, and fear so overwhelming that neighbors no longer dared to touch one another. They say that in Florence, Italy, bodies were stacked like firewood. In Paris, thousands were buried in mass graves. The stench of death clung to the air, and many believed the very atmosphere, the so-called miasma, had been poisoned. The mystery of the plague doctor's masks. Here emerges one of the darkest images in history. The plague doctors, clad in long black robes, leather hats, and most chilling of all, their bird-like masks. The beaks of these masks were stuffed with aromatic herbs, dried flowers, camphor, and even vinegar, as people believed that foul odors carried the disease. To see one of these figures walking down your street must have been like watching death itself slowly approach. And here's the frightening detail. Very few plague doctors survived. Despite their protections, most succumbed to the disease within months. Fears, superstitions, and the unknown. With no true understanding of what caused the plague, people turned to superstition. Some claimed it was divine punishment. Others accused witches or religious. Minorities leading to violent persecutions and massacres across Europe. And, as with every great mystery, conspiracy theories arose. Some believed the plague was the deliberate work of a secret group seeking control over the world. In an atmosphere of dread, fear turned everything into suspicion. But what about today? Few realize that the plague never truly vanished. It still lingers in remote regions. Each year, new cases are recorded in parts of Africa, Asia, and even the United States. In 2023, a confirmed case of bubonic plague reignited global debate. Though modern medicine can treat it with antibiotics, the very word plague still awakens dark memories of humanity's worst catastrophe. A warning from the past. The Black Death was not only a disease, it was a collective trauma that forever reshaped society. It altered economies, religions, daily life, and even art itself. But perhaps the most disturbing question remains: what if something like this happened again? We live in a globalized world where a single illness can travel across continents in a matter of hours. The plague has already shown us what it is capable of, and perhaps, somewhere in a forgotten corner of the world, it is waiting for its next chance. The horror we cannot forget. The haunting image of beaked masks, of carts overflowing with bodies, of silent, abandoned cities. All of it still lingers in humanity's memory. The Black Death is a terrible reminder. No matter how far we advance, History has its dark secrets, and they are always waiting in the shadows, ready to return when we least expect it.